Hi there. Let's face it, raising young babies is hard on relationships. The first couple of years, especially with twins, it is so challenging. And, most people put off their hobbies and their self-care and, don't really focus on each other as a couple. You just kind of get through day after day, go through the motions of surviving. And so today I'm going to talk about why it can be really great to go camping and hiking with your twins, how that can help your relationship with your partner and help you as a family to reconnect and get together. So there's all kinds of questions that come up. We're going to answer, any questions that you have about why to go camping, how-tos, where do the babies sleep, what do you do about eating, what do you do about entertaining. There's a lot of different pieces to it to think about. But first I'm going to start with an introduction. I am Lindsay Lowrance. I'm a therapist at Exploring Inner Peace, and I often help moms go from drained and distracted to powerful and fulfilled. Thanks for joining me today. I started a video, I'm not sure if it's on here already, and then it looks like it had ended. I was having some technology issues, and so I'm going to go through some of the tips and pointers and answer any questions that you have, but at the same time, if there is another video that did post, then sorry. Some of it will be the same. So I am a mom of 3 young children. My son is 4, he's almost 5 now, and I have twins, 1-year-old girls. And we've been camping with our kids, all of them, from the very beginning, since they were babies. And so there's different styles of camping, right? There's tent camping, RV camping, pop-up campers, all of that. And so we'll kind of explore a little bit of that. And I think for the most part, you just have to figure out what works best for your family, what is the way that makes the most sense. But I do think it's worth trying. So here's the why of camping. So why bother? It's going to be a lot of hassle. It's a lot to figure out. It's a lot of work. Well, here's why. We all get stuck in our daily routines. Day after day, it's the same stuff over and over. It's the same tasks. And it's nice to get away from that. It's nice to kind of be yourself, to reconnect with the things you like to do, to have a new adventure with your partner and with your family. And so it's worth going and taking a break from the normal day-to-day stuff so that you can get out in nature, have a breath of fresh air, really enjoy where you are and what you're doing. Get out of your headspace for a little bit. And there's moments too when you're camping, once all of the kids are asleep, where you can have time just with your partner, gazing up at the stars, sitting around the campfire, drinking your wine, whatever you might do. And the discussion that comes up when you're out camping is really different than your normal everyday stuff. You guys are out away from the norm. And so somehow it just brings up different ways to connect and to relate. And it's really excellent for relationships. So also, in addition to that, we are going to talk about the how-tos and really troubleshoot, like, what is it like to camp with young kids, with babies? So my twins started camping when they were 4 months old. They were itty bitty, and we had to figure out, we always tent camped with our son, and he used to just join me in my sleeping bag, and I would make sure he was warm enough, that we were, safe sleeping, all of that. We fit pretty comfortably, the 3 of us, as a family in that tent. And so for that, it worked. But when the twins came along, I really had to consider, how's this going to work with 2 extra babies and what's going to make the most sense for us. And so we ended up getting a pop-up camper. So it's like half tent, half RV, just because I was concerned about having enough space for all of us and about having enough heat and warmth as far as sleeping. Now, you definitely want to make sure that kids are bundled, that they're going to be comfortable sleeping. And in Colorado, it is so cold at night that it gets pretty freezing, even if it was beautiful weather during the day. So we often did, long sleeve onesies, sometimes even pants, under the fleece pajamas and even a fleece sleep sack. And then depending on the weather, we'd even have like baby hats and mittens. Of course, babies don't keep that stuff on. So mittens come off, they come flying even in the night. And hats might actually bother your baby depending on all of it. Sometimes we'd have the hat like slide down in the baby's face. And so, they'd complain and stir. So with the pop-up camper, we had a heater, which was one of the conveniences. And we set up kind of like a makeshift crib with one of the beds. They have these portable toddler rails that you can just add to any bed. And so I got one of those and I put it up to block, the entrance or exit from the bed. And so they had, they were surrounded. They had their own like queen size crib basically. And I would sleep in there with them so that I could, check on them and make sure that they were safe and everything. So for us, that worked out, but definitely it can be done tent camping with multiple babies as well. Sometimes you just have to make sure that you're really safe with, their layers and if they're old enough for blankets or how to do that. I do find that insulating underneath the bed, putting like a wool blanket or something, actually helps keep warmth as well, so that you don't have the coolness from the ground coming up. So if you can figure that out with a pack and play or, whatever you decide to do, that helps keep things a little bit warmer so everyone can sleep a little better. Hi, thanks for joining. I see, a few people on here already. I'm open to any questions at any point, so feel free to make comments and questions, and I'll stop periodically and respond. So as far as sleeping with babies in a tent, you could do, like a pack and play, or you could co-sleep if you know how to be safe co-sleeping. I've heard some twin parents will each take a baby and have one baby sleep with them, either with a sleeping bag or their blankets or something, but keeping everyone warm with body heat, which is nice. But definitely make sure that you're following all the safe co-sleeping rules and stuff. Second, is feeding at night. And so it could be really uncomfortable if you're doing, bottle feeding and you have to warm up a bottle in the middle of the night. So whatever way that you are feeding your babies, just make sure that you're prepared for it. For me, I just breastfed, and so it was easy. I was just there with them. But I have talked with other parents as well that either bottle fed, formula fed, whatever it is, and so they would have either a bottle warmer if they had an RV or camper. I would just say, like, make sure it works before you actually go and try and use it in the middle of the night. Sometimes RVs have different outlets and it doesn't always work easily. So just make sure you have that system working. Or if you're doing, old school tent camping, you just heat up some hot water ahead of time right before bed and keep it in a thermos in the tent so that you have a way to warm that, that bottle of milk or formula for them. And just make sure you have enough supplies, definitely. So it can be done. It's not much different or harder than whatever you do at home. As far as, sleep and feed, just make sure you have easy snacks and convenient food during the day, those kind of things. As far as entertaining kids, well, it's actually easier than you would think. You don't have to bring a whole lot of toys. I mean, it is nice for them to have a couple toys that you don't mind getting dirty, that, they can roll through the dirt or put sticks and rocks in. But honestly, little kids are really good about using their imagination, entertaining themselves, or really exploring nature. And so with babies, everything's kind of tactile. They want to touch everything. They want to put a lot of things in their mouths. So definitely watch out for chokables. But as a camping mom, I say, hey, a little dirt doesn't hurt. They're going to eat some dirt. They're going to put sticks in their mouth. They're going to, crawl around and get really dirty. And that's all kind of part of the fun. It's good for them. It's good for their development. And it's supposed to be good for their immune system too, to have this kind of exposure, right? And so I think the less that you worry about that kind of stuff, it just makes everything easier and more relaxed. As far as, the work it takes to kind of prepare for camping, yes, it is a bit stressful. And honestly, for me, it feels super stressful the day that we are packing up and trying to make sure we have everything, getting everything, into the car. And so it's a lot to think about. And sometimes it might feel like you're already kind of overwhelmed with the day-to-day tasks that you don't know how you could possibly fit in, preparing for a trip, packing, getting everything going. And so, yes, it feels like it's a little bit more, but you can prioritize. You can decide, there are some things that can wait. It's okay if, the dirty dishes and the laundry wait until we get back or whatever, right? And make space, make time for the organizing, the planning, and all of that, the packing. But, also once you do it a couple of times, you start to have a system and it becomes a lot easier where you already know the things that you're going to need. You might even have things already pre-packed, a lot of your camping gear just kind of ready to go. And so it can really help take the stress off for sure. As far as, getting everything going, yes, it's so stressful for those moments. It's so short term. But as soon as I get in the car and we drive away from our house, I feel relaxation come on instantly. I can breathe. Everything just drains, like all of the work, all the stress just fades away. And as we start driving through the mountains, I even start to get energized and excited and looking forward to this adventure and so thrilled that we're doing this for us and for our kids and giving them these opportunities, that it becomes way more than worth it. It's so fulfilling to reconnect with the things you like to do, to really just be yourself again, away from the nitty gritty, day after day stuff. And you get to reconnect with your partner and see your kids in a different light, doing new things and exploring and really be present with them. Like on hikes, you can take your kids hiking. You just got to sort out like who's going to carry who and, what baby carriers or gear do you need. But with that flexibility, just kind of knowing ahead of time, hey, young kids are going to need breaks. They're going to get hungry or need diaper changes, or with my preschooler, he's going to get distracted and want to stop and look at this or play over here or climb on this rock. We don't hike like we used to when we were just adults hiking. And so there's a lot of stops, and that's okay. We just set our mindset to, all right, we're going to go at a slower pace. We're going to stop. We're going to be prepared with these things that we might need during a break. And so I think the mentality really helps. And being present with your kids when you see them seeing things for the first time or really exploring and noticing what's around them, that actually helps you to be more in the moment too, and out of your head and not thinking about all the day-to-day stuff. You can really just enjoy, like your kid points out funny shaped rocks or, hey, look at this stick or something. And it's so much fun to be there with them and to notice it with them, explore things, and make it happen. So that's some of the fun that, that we can do. Thanks for joining us. I see a couple more people joining. If you have any questions, feel free to throw them in about camping with babies or with young kids. Like I was saying earlier, I had started recording on a different program, I guess, and so I don't know if I'm repeating myself. I apologize. Just trying to make sure that I get through some of the what ifs and the how-tos of how to make it happen. Right. And so as far as figuring out what system works best for you, it's nice to have teamwork, right? And to have things kind of prepared ahead of time, like who's going to do what roles. It really makes things a little bit smoother once you get there. And so for my husband and I, we split up like, all right, I'm going to take care of the kids. I don't mind handling 3 kids, diaper changes, crying babies, preschooler wandering off. Look at this, Mom. I can do all of that in one, and he doesn't mind setting up camp. And I really don't care for that. So, so he sets up the camp while I take care of the kids. Then we all come together and do, fun camp stuff. And the same thing for cooking. We figured out like, all right, who's going to be in charge of cooking? Who's going to be in charge of taking care of the kids? And so, I think the more you have that kind of sorted out, it helps you both know what your role is and just kind of jump in. It makes things a little smoother. But of course, the more convenience that you can add into, like having things already prepped for dinners, having really easy snacks and meals, makes things more enjoyable and more relaxing. You don't want to spend an hour or two cooking a meal when your kids are melting down and they're starving and you didn't realize how late it was, right? So be prepared with those things, have easy go-tos. They do have, they sell milk at stores that doesn't have to be refrigerated, like little boxes in the pantry area. So things like that. And you can also bring, applesauce packets and carrots and hummus and, through the kinds of foods that are easy to just grab and give to a toddler or to a little kid, and be ready with that, because that's one of the first things that comes up. Kids get crabby if they're hungry. So food's important. Be ready with lots of food. Don't bother bringing a lot of toys. They will enjoy the sticks and rocks. We talked about, the sleeping arrangements with babies. We talked about if you decide to tent camp versus a camper. There's a lot of considerations to figure out what's going to work best with your family. But if you have questions or specifics, feel free to, to bring it up. As far as splitting roles too, we do that with the bedtime routine as well when we're out camping. For us having 3 kids, it's nice that our son can get himself dressed and ready for bed. Of course, we're calling out like, make sure you're doing this. Hey, stop playing. It's bedtime. Do that. But we're both taking on one baby and, doing the diaper change and the pajamas and all of that, getting the babies ready. And then once everybody's in jammies, then we split the roles again of like, all right, you're going to do story time with our son. I'll do, baby time, help them kind of settle and relax. And then when everybody's asleep, we can exit the camper or the tent, whatever you decide, and have some quiet time around the fire, just enjoying the stars, talking to each other, really relating on different things. And so I feel like that experience is invaluable for the relationship too. It really helps build up having different things to talk about, having a different place that you are, and just being present, listening to the cackling of the fireplace, enjoying your wine or whatever you're doing. So that's the image that I get in my mind when I'm thinking of camping, is like, we're going to have these fun exploring hikes with our kids and let them, roll around in the dirt and, play with sticks. That's one of the images. And then the other one is, I so look forward to those quiet night times, with the stars and the fireplace, right next to the camper, where if one of us has to go in to help with kids, we can. But yeah, what kind of questions come up for you when you think about, is it really possible to camp with little kids, or what if this? Feel free to share some questions. I'll give you a moment. All right, and some of you might be, thinking of questions about what is it like camping with young children. It can be done, I guess, is my point. Even if it's stressful, even if it's a little bit hard at first, it's worth doing it because you get to feel like yourself and you get to enjoy the people you're with and get out of the everyday mode. So the little bit of work figuring out the logistics is worth it. Logistics can always be problem solved. There's, an answer for anything. So as far as, let's see, we've got sleep. You want to make sure the babies stay warm. You want to make sure that they're safe. You can explore playpens, blankets, co-sleeping in sleeping bags or in a bed with you. You could put up a toddler rail and make, your own crib for them. That was my favorite thing to do this summer. And layers, definitely make sure you have layers. But really, overall, if you have enough food and you have a place for, some way for them to be warm, you don't need to really worry about a whole lot of other stuff. You just kind of go with the flow. And that's part of just letting it all kind of be relaxed and go at a slower pace and just enjoy it. So let's see, we've talked about feeding them like bottles or nursing, the what tos, what kind of gear. As far as hiking, you want to consider making sure that you all are comfortable hiking. And so as you probably saw on the picture, I used to hike with one baby in front, one baby on the back, and then my older kiddo would hike alongside. Now that the babies are a little heavier, that would not be comfortable for me. And so we each take a baby. We each will wear a baby in a carrier and just make sure you have, the appropriate gear. But it doesn't have to be expensive. You can find a lot of this stuff used or secondhand, sometimes hand-me-downs, friends. And so share it, If you're thinking that you might want to get out and venture out there and give it a try, but you're kind of nervous about it, maybe the best first step would be to try with another family, have some friends there, some other adults that can help pitch in and like cover the kids or help set up camp or help with meals. It makes it a little bit easier if you all work as a community, and it feels really nice having that village built into your camping weekend. Also for the first camping trip, I would suggest maybe just planning it to be one overnight just to kind of see how it goes and get everybody used to it without being kind of stuck out in the boondocks for a whole weekend, right? And so those are some other considerations. Yeah, I'm so excited that you all have joined me on exploring what it's like to camp with babies, with little kids, and how that can help your relationship. Thank you so much for coming. I see that, there's a few of you on here live, and I know there will be more people watching, the rewatch later as well. So if any other questions come up, feel free to send me a message. I'm happy to respond. And if I have a lot of questions, maybe I'll even do another Facebook Live on it. I'm not sure if you can hear the babies in the background crying, but that is my cue to say goodbye and thank you so much. I look forward to getting to know you all more too with these future Facebook Live videos and sharing more tips and helping you find ways to to really enjoy nature or feel like yourself again or reconnect with your partner. So thanks. Bye.